the Biden administration made a dangerous decision on not regulating chemicals from jet fuel that are now contaminating water supplies. Now, this was an affirmative decision that the Biden administration made after the Trump administration started it. Now think about this. A, we know that jet fuel, if you're living near a military base, is probably in your drinking water. B, we know that it causes neurological disease. We know it causes birth defects. We know it causes cancer. But you know what? We're not going to allow you to report the amount of this jet fuel that's in your water. We're going to stop you from doing it.
Yeah, this is a horrendous decision by this administration. Like you said, this happened under Trump. They said, we're no longer going to regulate this. We're not going to do anything. You're just going to have to drink your jet fuel and move on with life. So the Biden administration, as usual, people say, oh, good, environmental protections. Nope, Biden's EPA says, yeah, we're not going to touch it either. Yeah. And of course, I think a big part of it, as you mentioned, from the military bases, if we have to crack down on that, then, oh my God, contractors may not get money. They may have to pay people when they get these, cancers. And this affects brain development.
In children.
In children, infants, fetuses. So we're giving these children this jet fuel via the mother, and they come out with exceptionally lower IQs. We're ruining their lives.
Well,
we're ruining their lives.
It's a perchlorate, okay?
Yeah.
And we know a lot more about perchlorate than we know that it causes birth defects. We know it causes neurological disease in adults, just like children. We know it causes cancer. There's a lot of material on this. And so the administration has said, and all we want is like a state to have information so they can say to people in the community, you might want to know that we have this toxin in your drinking water and it's coming from the military base right next to you. The contractors, buddy, they went crazy when this was on the table. The contractors fought desperately to keep this a secret. They didn't even want to raise this. They didn't want to talk about the fact that this chemical is in drinking water. Now the administration's bought into it totally. And the Democrats were the ones who were so critical of Trump when he made it happen.
Well, and that's the big problem here, too. Again, you have all these people who really were up in arms. All these environmental groups spoke out against Trump. They filed these big lawsuits. Okay, but now the guy that you told us was going to do this, where's the outrage now? You have to carry it over because this isn't a partisan issue. This is people are going to die because they're drinking poison and our government's doing nothing about it.
Yeah, now it's okay. Now it's not that freak, we agree he's a freak, Trump doing it. Now this tired old man who can barely stay awake, and he doesn't probably even know what's happening here. And but now it's okay. A banking executive is in hot water for saying that nobody cares if Miami is underwater in 50 years due to climate change. He really, really said that. One of the HSBC, who, oh, by the way, are criminals, that admitted that they were criminals, admitted that they were washing money for terrorists, washing money for drug cartels, admitting that they knew their washing money was going to kill Americans, soldiers, contractors, not just Americans, but people all over the world, admitted that they knew that, admitted that they made $100 billion doing it, and then they were only fined $1.6 billion. They made $100 billion, did I say million? $100 billion. So these are the same people. Tell us the story about this cat. Stands up and says this.
Yeah, you've got Stuart Kirk, who is actually the head of responsible investment at Responsible Investment. He goes to this conference and he stands up and he says, listen, nobody cares if Miami's going to be under 6 meters of water 100 years from now or even 50 years from now. So that shouldn't affect any of your investments. And what he did, not just this horrible statement, but he is really exposing this corporate mentality of climate, or even the congressional mindset of climate change is, who cares because we're all going to be dead.
Yeah, it's a climate change story. We say it all the time. This isn't going to get any hits on this network. People don't care about climate change. They say they do, when they're trying to send a signal, I guess, that they really care, but they won't go to this story. They won't follow this story. But I got to tell you something. This is what this guy says. These are his words. At a big bank like ours, what do people think the average loan length is? It's 6 years. What happens to the planet in 7 years is actually irrelevant. It's not our problem. It's on our loan book. For coal, what happens in 7 years is irrelevant. This is the guy standing up in front of a huge room of bankers who are applauding him, saying, yeah, who cares? This is the corporate mentality. This is why we can raise hell about climate change and nobody pays it attention, because you have these piggish psychopaths, these oddball piggish psychopaths. And now finally the veil is removed one more time. We see that they're a bunch of pigs at the trough, that they don't care about this planet. It's not going to go anywhere. I'll be surprised if we got 10,000 visits on this story by the time it's over.
I will say it's very funny you read that, because I actually had it marked and starred right here to read as well, because that is the quote, folks. That is exactly what he said, and that's the corporate mentality. It goes from the banks to the insurance companies, all the way through the halls of Congress. It doesn't matter, because we're only thinking 6 years into the future. We don't have to think 10 or 20 years into the future. We'll be dead, or our investments will be paid off. So then whoever got a loan for us to buy a house in Miami, it's their problem. They've paid it off.
Right. Who cares if your grandchildren are drowning? Who cares? These are pigs. Pigs at the trough. They're dressed up like pigs. They're dressed up in nice looking suits. But they're pigs, they're psychopathic pigs who make money at the expense of the rest of this planet.